What is up, guys? How are you doing, my friends? Welcome back. Thank you for stopping in and hanging out with me for just a little while and talking about some movies. Guys, today we're going to be talking about I just got out of the theater, walked in the door, and I said, "You know what? Let me go to the Chris Cave and break it down for the folks." I just got out of the Mandalorian and Grogu, guys. You know, it just came out in theaters a couple days ago, like last week before last, something like that. And guys, I had been hearing all kinds of things about it. Now, before I give you my opinion on it, hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys are having a blessed day wherever you're at. You love yourself, love the people you're with. I hope that you guys are doing great. So here we go. We're getting into it. Before we get into it, let me just say I've heard a lot of people talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu. A lot of people, I respect their opinions and things like that. So I had to check it out, guys. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Been a Star Wars fan since I was sitting on that dirty orange carpet with the donuts and the Coca-Cola, and they had sprinkles, and I'm looking at the TV, and I'm like, what is this sorcery that George Lucas has introduced me to? And from that point on, I have been a Star Wars, I wouldn't say super fan, but I know enough about it that when I watch something, I connect the dots between all the different properties, okay? If for instance, in Mando, there are characters from the Rebels animated show that have been brought to life in live action. I love that. Some people don't even notice that. They're just like, it's Star Wars. But for me, big fan. I'm pretty savvy on the lore, and so I had to go see Mando and Grogu. Guys, this was fun. It wasn't the best, okay? Now, in my opinion, the best Disney properties, as far as Star Wars goes, new trilogy sucks, okay? We can all pretty much agree on that. They screwed the pooch with the third episode of that, bringing Palpatine back. They did okay rehashing, episode 4.2 or whatever, where they're, it's a New Hope 2.0. So the new trilogy, it wasn't nothing special to me. I liked the first one. I loved The Last Jedi. That's the only one out of this whole new trilogy that I thought was even worthy of being a Star Wars film, and most people hate it. But I thought that it was awesome. The first one and the third one, trash. The Last Jedi was the only thing that was new and original. So, and maybe I'm biased on Star Wars in that way. I don't agree with a lot of people on Disney Star Wars. A lot of people want to crap on it. I am open-minded enough that I can look at a Star Wars property and say, yes, they did good here. No, this was terrible. We're not here for that. We're here for the Mando and Grogu, and I've been digressing, guys. So let's talk about Mando and Grogu. It's supposed to be the finale of the show, or at least that's what I was led to believe, when it was announced that it was going to be a movie. After season 3, I was like, where are they going to go with this? And I'm a huge Mandalorian fan anyway. From the first season to the third season, I have done nothing but enjoy it because it combines lore and things that happened in the animated series with live action things, with previous Star Wars lore, and it's a space western. I mean, it truly is. As the first season was a space western. You got a bounty hunter going and taking down criminals. I mean, it was to me phenomenal. One of the best properties. You've got the Mandalorian. You've got Rogue One, and you've got Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka. Those are the only 4 things that Disney has done right. I enjoyed Solo, but that's it. So Mandalorian is one of those properties that I really look forward to experiencing when they give me a new iteration of it. So I'm going into this thinking, okay, we're getting a finale to a show. We're getting, something to tie all this to the greater Star Wars picture, right? And sadly, I feel like we didn't get any of that. You expect in a Star Wars film, and I know Star Wars has been candy-coated over the years for the kids, and originally it's supposed to be a kids' film, so we gotta be careful with our death and our traumatic moments, and that's cool. I get it. But that's what makes movies memorable to kids, is those traumatic moments that when you're 35 years old, you look back and you go, man, do you remember when, I don't know, Bambi's mom got shot? Do you remember when in the Brave Little Toaster, the air conditioner guy gets dies, the vacuum. It's like those traumatic moments are what kind of mold us into our future selves. And Disney has been devoid of that in Star Wars, and this is no different. The Mandalorian and Grogu has scenes that could have emotional impact. They could hook you, they could draw you deeper into the story, and they could wring every little ounce of emotion out of you. Similar to what, Empire Strikes Back did with the Carbonite and I Love You, I Know. There are those emotional hooks. With Luke, I am your father, or no, I am your father. However it's said, it's like those moments are what define Star Wars for us. We get these big, grand space operas and we have these emotional connections with characters and we're going through their lives with them. But in The Mandalorian, it's like, okay, cute Grogu does some things. He's supposed to be adept in the Force, or at least learning the Force, Excuse me, there are moments where he could use the Force and he doesn't. And it's kind of like, y'all show us that he can do these things, but you don't let him do it. And it's not like he has a Jedi trainer or a Jedi master to be like, no, don't use the Force in that way. Like, to me, if I was untrained and I knew I could do it, I would be using it all the time. Be like, oh, frog, lift him up, put him in my mouth. Lift the boulder, move it out of the way. That kind of thing. There's no one to tell him not to do it. So him not using the Force is kind of wonky to me. Secondly, the Mandalorian story itself, I've heard people say that it felt like it was a bunch of, like several episodes just kind of like edited together. And while I kind of agree with that, I don't feel like it was necessarily several episodes put together as much as there was no substance to anything that was happening, if that makes sense. There was no substance to what was going on the screen other than pew-pew lasers and explosions. And it was almost like Star Wars Michael Bay. There was no, the special effects look great, as always, because it's ILM. It's Star Wars. They're always going to look top shelf. But the thing is, it wasn't edited to where it has lulls, and the pacing is what throws it off, because it's almost like, whereas Mortal Kombat 2 gave us just enough story to go from fight to fight, this gives us just enough story and not very well told to go from action piece to action piece. And that's not a Star Wars film. Like, there has to be some sort of, there's a couple of instances, like I said, where there could have been these emotional hooks to really grab you and make you feel something for Mando and Grogu, but they pissed that away in favor of sugarcoating it and not letting people die, not letting people be offended or hurt, not having, no grave injuries. In any other Star Wars film, if there's an X-Wing fighter battle, somebody's getting shot down, somebody's getting blown up. It was just very saccharine, and I wasn't a fan of that. Overall, I had fun watching the film because it was Star Wars. It was Mandalorian, who I really enjoy the show. I like the character. I like little Grogu. The best part of this whole movie, guys, is Babu Frick. The little capuchin-looking dude who's like, oh, I can't do the voices and stuff, but he's like tiny little capuchin monkey looking dude. He helped Rey in one of those trilogy films, but he's in this like a crew of little Babu Fricks, and they're going around saving Mando and Grogu, and it's just, they are hilarious, and they were the best part of this whole film. They stole the show from Mandalorian and Grogu. I want to see a Babu Frick movie. Give me that, because those little dudes were great. They had me dying. They come flying in on this ship that's the size of like a CD. It was like batteries not included, coming to the rescue. It was awesome, guys. I loved that part of the film. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a fun family Star Wars film. If you're a modern Star Wars fan, you're gonna dig it. If you like The Mandalorian, you're gonna dig it. But don't go in expecting it to be the end-all, be-all of the series. It's not the culmination. It's not the magnum opus. If anything, it leaves it more open to there being more seasons instead of ending it like it was rumored to be doing. So I really would like to see more Star Wars by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. In Filoni we trust. I've liked all of his stuff from Clone Wars all the way up to the things that he's been doing in live action. I still think he has a lot of potential to tell some great stories in the Star Wars universe. they just got to stop worrying about being so dadgum kid-friendly. Stop worrying about traumatizing the kids. I mean, let Darth Vader cut off a hand and tell me that he's their father. Let something new happen in Star Wars that captures the imagination and the love of a new generation of fans. I mean, people used to crap all over the prequel trilogy, and to me, I mean, that was my generation Star Wars. My mom and dad had Star Wars in the 70s. I had Star Wars in the 90s, and my kids have Star Wars in the 2020s, 20 teens, right? But the Star Wars that my kids are getting ain't the Star Wars that we all grew up with loving. And so I think if they would go back to more of a rooted, grounded Star Wars approach like Lucas had to begin with, we would do a lot better, guys. And Mandalorian has the potential to tell so many great stories. They just got to learn to dig those emotional grabbers in. They got to learn their pacing. They got to learn to edit it better. Have a little more exposition, a little more explanation on why we're doing things instead of just like, hey, go do this. Cool. Get in a spaceship, go. Like, you got to give me a little more meat and potatoes to the story. I know that kids nowadays ain't got the attention span for it, but come on, man. Y'all can do way better than what you did with this. And I was really hoping for something awesome, and it was just okay. And that kind of sucks. But you know, that's what we get. Hopefully, our next Star Wars offerings will be great, or they'll return us back to the small screen, the TV screen, and keep Mando as a series, or whatever comes next as a series, and don't try to make it a movie. Don't try to make it a movie for a finale or anything like that. Just keep it on TV. Make the movies the movies. But you got to do better, guys. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me rant about Star Wars and Mandalorian, guys. I really appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And as always, my friends, I am going to keep making them as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you. And I will see you soon.